So, Severance Season 2 is finally over, and my god, what an amazing season it was. I really liked the first season. I think that Season 1 engages you with a very interesting pilot episode. We are thrown into this world, introduced to the mysterious company known as Lumen. We see our protagonist Mark recruiting Helly, and we get to learn about the rules of the Severance operation and of Lumen. And the episode just leaves you with a very mysterious and unsettling tone that just hooks you from the get-go. The characters are all fabulous, even in the side characters. Every actor brings their A game, and there isn't like a weak link in the cast, and the show is just really well shot. There are a lot of shots in the show that just make you want to pause, look back, and admire the beautiful scenery. I also like how the show is not afraid to integrate dark comedy with some genuine goofy scenes. The plot keeps you engaged in all of the interesting ways, and it all leads to a crazy finale. And man, I'm glad that I caught up during Season 2, because I don't know how I would have processed that final episode. I don't know how some of you guys waited nearly 3 years for Season 2. I would have gone crazy. This is one of the most insane season cliffhangers, right up there with the Negan cliffhanger from The Walking Dead Season 6 and Hank's year-long shit in Breaking Bad. These cliffhangers are crazy, and I don't know how some of you all wait for these new episodes. And the same goes for Severance. I was immediately shook by this finale, and I immediately clicked on the next episode. And I was still happy to see that Severance Season 2 not only maintained the same quality of Season 1, but it somehow managed to surpass the previous season, which I didn't think was possible. The first episode of Season 2 picks up right where Season 1 left off. You get a really cool intro with Mark running around the Lumen hallways, trying to find Gemma at the wellness center. The show just kicks it straight into high gear. Also liked how this scene mirrors the first episode of Season 1 with Mark walking to his office, except now he is running through the hallways, so that was a nice touch. I was also later shocked to learn that this wasn't even a single long take. The scene appears to be one continuous shot, but it was actually filmed in multiple parts over 5 months, with different sections of the set being used as they became available. The intro is just absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate the craftsmanship of Ben Stiller and everyone involved for having the patience to film for over 5 months just to shoot this one opening sequence. The show is just really creative, and it's nice to see Ben Stiller go that extra mile. He could have just phoned it in with a slow start, but he immediately got us right back into the action. And that's one of my favorite things about the show, just the presentation. The shots and cinematography really drive home the cold and lifeless vibe of Lumen, making it feel even more unsettling. The set designs also give the show that flashy and dreamlike feel. But what keeps this season fresh and exciting is its ability to maintain a deep sense of mystery. Take Stranger Things for example. Stranger Things builds on the mystery of the Upside Down. We have the lingering mystery of the disappearance of Will Byers and the lurking danger with the Demogorgons. And once that's revealed, the stakes are still high, but the sense of the unknown kind of dissipates. And by Season 2, we're rehashing the Demogorgon plotline, and we're already too familiar with the Demogorgons. So it just feels like a repetitive formula. Even if it's still enjoyable, it doesn't hold that same sense of mystery. And Squid Game kind of falls into the same boat. The first season had this incredible sense of tension with those high-stake games, but by Season 2, we're already too familiar with the island, the games, and the main villain. The new games are still exciting, don't get me wrong, but the sense of mystery just doesn't hit the same. Severance, on the other hand, doesn't fall into that trap. The show masterfully sustains its mystery as Mark delves deeper into the secrets of Lumen and the truth about his wife. If Season 1 had wrapped up all the mysteries and then Season 2 just led with a dramatic showdown, it wouldn't have the same draw and appeal. Severance just keeps the tension high and the intrigue strong, offering a fresh and unique experience. The lingering questions and the sense of discovery definitely elevate the show. It keeps us hooked and eager for every revelation. And the episode that preceded the first one was also pretty strong. You get a really good second episode that is entirely centered around the Audis and the aftermath of the overtime contingency. The innies are not even featured in this episode, and it was just nice to get insight on the outside world. We also get a lot more characterization for Helena, which is nice. We see how demanding, controlling, and almost unhappy she is. Helena's a very stoic and cold character. She's trapped in her family business. She's quite robotic, even in the way she moves. Her arms are all tucked in, while Helly's very carefree and expressive, which is even stranger considering the fact that she is the one who's trapped in Lumen, but she found a family of her own as opposed to Helena, who was quite an isolated character. And then we have episode 3, which was a nice slow episode. We return to our normal gang of friends. They try to uncover the secrets behind Lumen, and Mark begins his reintegration process. And then we have episode 4, Woe's Hollow, which is quite possibly one of the best episodes of the show. And this was my very first episode that I caught up on, which was nice. In this episode, we see our group doing this outdoor retreat activity, and it's just shot nicely in the freezing cold winter. Mr. Milchick gives our gang a tour, and I really like this line.
This is the tallest waterfall on the planet. You have followed the path of Kier and Dieter and reached Woe's Hollow.
Again, this show just nails the simple and clever humor. The group then settles and sits by the campfire, and you get a really awesome scene where things get heated as the gang learns about Kier, and Irving has an argument with the group since he is suspicious of Helly. Irving is definitely the MVP of this episode. His confrontation with Helena is amazing. He finally exposes Helly as an imposter, revealing that Helena had been pretending to be her innie the whole time. And John Turturro's performance is outstanding.
Turn her back, Mr. Milchick! Turn her back!
God damn it, stop doing!
Yes! Do it, Seth!
The episode then ends with a shocking twist. Irving's innie gets dismissed. It's a shocking and heart-wrenching moment, especially when you realize that this is the last time that we get to see Irving's innie for the rest of the season. So we pretty much just lost an essential major character pretty early on. Woe's Hollow definitely stands as one of the craziest episodes so far, and it's easy to see why everyone loved it. The acting is top-notch, the cinematography is on point, and the episode has real lasting ramifications for the rest of the season. And after that, this is where the season definitely gets a bit divisive for some people, and it may lose a few audiences because of its more slower pace. Episode 5 showcases the events of Woe's Hollow. We see Dylan grieving Irving's death. Irving leaves a message for Dylan about Cold Harbor and the mysterious elevator, and we'll get into more of that later with the finale. Mark is distrustful of Helly because of the last episode. And overall, I just thought that this was a really good, slow episode that showcases the lasting impacts of Woe's Hollow. Episode 6 then delves into Mark and Helly as they try to re-establish their relationship. We get another banger episode with episode number 7. We finally get to see the backstory for Gemma and Mark. We get a beautiful montage of Mark and Gemma's life and marriage. And you really feel bad for Mark. You really get a sense that Mark lost himself when Gemma disappeared. And the creativity is just off the charts with all the different rooms in this episode. And like I said before, the set design is amazing. It really gives the show a distinct personality, and it makes the scenes extra flashy. And then we have episode 8, probably the most divisive and controversial episode of Severance yet. This episode was entirely centered around Miss Coble, and when people call it a filler episode, that's just beyond me. Yes, it's a slower episode, but it still has good character development, and it's a really important episode. It's shot really well, and I like the way that they portray Coble's hometown and its people. The town is in shambles after Lumen abandoned the area. We also get more insight into Miss Coble, why she is the way she is, and how her mother's death affected her. We also learn that Coble is the true inventor of the Severance procedure. We see her old notebook sketches revealing her original concepts for the invention. And I just thought that this was a good episode. Even though it's a bit slower, it still has essential information and good character development, and it's absolutely crucial for the finale. I really appreciated the change of pace in these episodes following episode 4, even though I understand why some viewers might feel frustrated. Look, I get it. After a long week of hard work, people are eagerly awaiting the new episode. Then Thursday night rolls around, families gather, and viewers are ready to dive back into the dynamic between Mark, Dylan, and Helly. But instead, the focus shifts entirely on two characters with Gemma and Coble. While I get that that shift can feel jarring, I still think that these episodes are still essential for building the foundation of the story. And after those last two episodes, episode 9 returns back to normal. The story picks up again in the office with Dylan and Helly. We get a deeper look into Helena's relationship with her father. I really like that mansion scene where it's shot in the biting cold, continuing to emphasize just how detached and chilling Lumen is, and the cinematography just does such an incredible job of telling the story. The rest of the episode shows Irving leaving town after Bert finally lets him go, and Mark has his unexpected team up with Cobell, and then we finally get the moment that we've all been waiting for. Innie Mark confronts Audi Mark, and this all culminates into one of the most gripping finales that I've ever seen on TV.
May I introduce choreography and merriment!
This finale episode just does everything that a finale should. It delivers a crazy jam-packed experience, and it finally gives us payoff for our mysteries. The stakes stay high throughout the episode, and man, this episode does not stop. It just keeps going and going. The beginning of the episode is really strong. I really like the conflict between Innie Mark and Audi Mark, and it was finally satisfying to see them talking to each other. The show keeps you invested in both of their storylines. You get both of their struggles. On one hand, you want to see Audi Mark save Gemma, but at the same time, you don't want Innie Mark to lose his own life and his relationship with Helly. And the finale does such a great job of finally answering our long-awaited questions. Honestly thought the season would just end with another cliffhanger like season 1, and it wouldn't really give us any answers, but that was not the case. We finally learned the meaning behind the Innie's jobs and what the numbers actually mean. We got insight into Cold Harbor, and we even got answers for the weird goats and why they're used. And this episode was surprisingly violent. It's by far the most violent episode of the show, and the show isn't typically action heavy. It has like sprinkles of violence here and there, but it rarely has shootouts or fight scenes, so seeing Mark physically fight Drummond and then shooting him, that was pretty unexpected, and it makes the final episode feel even more memorable because it's so different from what we've seen before, and the sudden bursts of violence really make the stakes feel high, since the show rarely features scenes like these. And then there's the new dance experience, baby, just like season 1, except now we have a marching band, and this was really funny. We get to see more of Milkchick's dance moves, before Dylan of course ruins it again, but this time Dylan locks Milkchick in the bathroom. And you just feel bad for my boy Milkchick. I mean, my man cannot catch a break. And to top it all off, the episode ends with Innie Mark finally saving Gemma, and then he makes the difficult decision to spend his final moments with Helly instead of running off with Gemma, which I thought was pretty in line with his character. Unlike season 1, this finale felt more complete. It didn't just abruptly end like season 1 without any real resolution. Most of our big questions were answered with this final episode, and the show still leaves small mysteries lingering. We still don't know what happened to Irving's Audi after he left town in episode 9, and we don't know the fate of Irving B. Will he ever come back, or is he just gone for good? And of course, we still need to know the fate of all the Innies. The show still leaves things left to explore, but the season's main objective was accomplished with saving Gemma. And I thought that that was the most important thing, since we actually get a satisfying ending to this season. And I really don't think that this finale would have hit as hard if we didn't have episodes 7 and 8 to set up the finale. Yeah, they were slower episodes, but they were absolutely necessary for fleshing out the characters in the world of Severance. I get why some people hate these episodes, but let's be real, even the worst episodes of Severance are still top tier television. But overall, this season was pretty incredible. They somehow managed to top season 1, which is wild. And the big question for me is whether or not season 3 can retain that same level of mystery and intensity, especially after where this finale left us. I have no idea how they're gonna follow it up next, but I'm really excited to see where things kick off with season 3. So yeah, Severance season 2 absolutely lived up to the hype, and I would be a fool to give it anything less than a final verdict of a 9 out of 10. Huge props to Ben Stiller and the whole team, and please don't make us wait 3 years for season 3. No, I really mean it. Or maybe they will. Who knows? Anyways, bye guys.